Welcome to Final Destinations. In this episode, we are featuring the remaining 727-200s in the Northwest Airlines fleet. The Boeing 727 revolutionized Northwest service by allowing the airline to provide jet service to smaller cities and continue to move from prop service to an all-jet service. The Boeing 727-200 started service with Northwest in 1968 and was finally retired from scheduled service in January of 2003. The majority of these 727-200s entered service with Northwest new, many provided service for around 25 years until leaving the fleet. We start this tour in Roswell. Here we have November 201 US, a 1980 delivery seen here in 2005 next to others waiting to be stripped and scrapped. This JetPix photo shows 2201 in 1993. The next stop, which was a stop for many Northwest airplanes, is Maxton, North Carolina. I managed to capture tail 2202 while working at Toronto Pearson International back in the early 2000s. Sara, Steig, Gradwohl snapped many photos of 2202 being ferried to Maxton on that fateful day, January 8, 2003. From photos of pre-flight to approach and even final goodbyes. Check out her timeless collection on jetphotos.net. She was also able to capture other aircraft that were retired already and even on that same day. We move overseas now to November 203 US. Delivered to Northwest in 1981, retired from Northwest in 2002. Down the road, 2203 collected some winglets, was painted gold, and retired at Baku International Airport in Azerbaijan. Some cool photos and videos are available of this beauty before it seemed to have disappeared in 2016. After a very short international trip, we return back to North America. November 204 US was one of two 727 tails I got to fly on. I flew on Northwest 439 from Orlando to Detroit. This is a photo of November 204 US for parting at Maxton, North Carolina. Northwest started to collect some 727s seemingly from Braniff's bankruptcy in May 1982. One of those was November 205 US, formerly November 401 BN, as seen here in this 1978 photo by Mike Bajkar. This aircraft retired as YV-464C of Zuliana. The aircraft may still be visible in a small graveyard at Avenida Mandira Airport in Tinaco, Venezuela. This next location is probably my favorite. November 206 US is first of a handful that are still derelict at Smyrna, Tennessee. 2206 was with Northwest from 1982 to 88 as seen in this photo with the Orient titles. I find it neat that it is suspended in the classic livery designed from the 70s. You may be able to still see this aircraft today. Heading to Tucson for the first time in this video, this original Allegheny Airlines 727 worked for Northwest as November 207 US from 1982 to 88. Tail 2207 ended service with Pan Am as November 379 PA and was scrapped around 1993. Another 727 in Bogota, Colombia. November 208 US retired with Satina as FAC 1247. It is visible in Google Earth as recently as 2019. For our next airliner, we head to Gambia. A huge jump in registrations occur, and the next we see is November 251 US. Strangely enough, in this case, the higher registration numbers account for the first batch of 727-200s in the fleet. According to rzjets.net, November 251 US was delivered to Northwest on October 11, 1968. Here is a stunning pre-delivery photo by Mel Lawrence dated in 1968. The aircraft worked 25 years of service for Northwest. This aircraft was retired at Banjul International Airport in Gambia, last with Air Dabia and a registration of C5-ADA, as seen here. Back to the US, November 252 US was with Northwest until about 1995 and was last in service with Kitty Hawk Air Cargo. It was retired at Roswell and last seen here in 2010. Moving over to Benin Airport in Nigeria, we have 253 US. This aircraft last served for Okada Air with registration 5N-EDE. This aircraft disappears from the aerial photos by 2016, so more than likely it was scrapped. Ethiopia is our next stop. November 254 US operated 1968 to 88 with Northwest. Its final assignment appeared to be with Mahfouz Aviation and was scrapped around 2006 at Addis Ababa International Airport. November 255 US was retired at Roswell. The aircraft was delivered in 1968 to Northwest and retired with Kitty Hawk and scrapped around 2004. This photo by William W. Sierra of November 256 US is probably featuring the most polished I've ever seen a Northwest Orient aircraft. This aircraft, on the other hand, is now derelict at Smyrna, Tennessee and looks like this. The aircraft was retired in 1993 but is still derelict now, or at least 2018. November 257 US was retired as Pan Am November 388 PA back in 1991. More than likely due in part to that airline ceasing operations on December 4, 1991. That aircraft was scrapped around 1996 at Tucson. Crossing the Atlantic again, November 258 US ended up at London Southend Airport. In this aerial photo, we see November 258 US before being completely scrapped around 2003. The aircraft ended service as TNT Cargo with a registration of OY-SES. November 259 US was eventually beamed up and turned into a Skytrek plane. It was rumored to have been commanded by Captain Kirk a few times. The aircraft was retired at Tucson and scrapped by 2001. November 260 US was also retired at Tucson. Last in service with Laser Airlines as November 260 US and scrapped around 2000. November 261 US was retired in 1993 at Greensboro, North Carolina as a Northwest aircraft. It was scrapped around 1994. Check out this classic interior view of November 262 US back in this 1978 photo by Mike Genovese. This aircraft served with Northwest for its whole career and was retired at Fort Lauderdale and scrapped around 1993. November 263 US, seen here in 1994 after service with Northwest, was retired at Dublin International and scrapped around 1997. The final service was with Express One. Back to Tucson yet again. November 264 US was retired with Kitty Hawk and scrapped around 2007. Here are two photos of the aircraft taken 17 years apart, both captured by the same photographer, Andrew Thomas. November 265 US was retired as Northwest at North Texas Regional Airport and scrapped around 1993. This aircraft was delivered to Northwest in 1969. November 266 US was retired as Falcon Express at Tucson and scrapped around 2007. It is visible in Google Earth in 2006 images. In this photo taken by Radek Onixiak, we see November 267 US being scrapped in the Discovery Air livery. This aircraft was scrapped at Tucson as well. November 268 US ended up at Smyrna, Tennessee and was still there derelict as of 2018. Someone needs to take a road trip. Tucson. November 269 US served for Northwest from 1969 to 1988 and was retired as Northwest and scrapped around 1997. November 270 US also ended up in Tucson and broken up around the same time. Again at Smyrna, we have yet another couple ex-Northwest 727s that are still possibly there as of 2018. November 271 US left Northwest by 1988 and ended service as November 389 PA with Capital Cargo as seen here in this photo by JetPix. And sitting close by is November 272 US, started and retired as Northwest after a short stint with Pan Am. November 273 US was retired as Northwest in Tucson and scrapped around 1998. December 1st, 1974 was a very bad day for 727s. Two Boeing 727s crashed on the U.S. East Coast, one being TWA 514 and the other Northwest 6231. Tail November 274 U.S. was merely 5 years old when it dropped out of the sky and crashed in Stony Point, New York. The aircraft was a ferry flight and all three crew members unfortunately perished. There are incident reports and a video of a memorial with guests who explain their association with the incident. It's very interesting to hear their stories and is worth giving it a listen to. Back in Maxton, Tail 2275 is seen here shortly after being parked in 2003. This aircraft, like many others, was being parted out for the next 5 to 10 years. Heading over to South Africa, to Mahikeng Airport, we have November 276 US. The final service was with Abakan Avia with a registration of TL-YJT. It was seen stored in aerial photos as of 2019. Now to Bogota, Colombia, the modern 727 hotspot. We have November 277 US retired and being parted out. Last in service with LAS Cargo as HK4261 and derelict in 2018. On December 3, 1990, Northwest 299, operated by November 278 US, clipped. Northwest 1412, a DC-9 operated by November 3313L. 8 passengers were killed on the DC-9, which was retired immediately. November 278 US did go on to continue service and eventually was retired with Kitty Hawk at Roswell. It was scrapped around 2013. There are news clips and animations on YouTube in case you are not aware of this incident. November 279 US was also retired in Roswell after final service with Kitty Hawk. It was scrapped around 2011. Heading to Louisiana, November 208 US proved a 727 could land safely even after losing engine number 3. A leak coming from inside the lavatory panel froze at altitude, and when a large piece broke off, it was ingested by engine number 3. The subsequent vibrations caused the engine to fall off and land near Madison, Florida. This aircraft was repaired and later went on to serve for Aeropostal until being retired at Alexandria Airport in Louisiana and scrapped in the early 2000s. Heading to Pinal Air Park, November 281 US last served with Sunworld and as a bonus received a set of those wonderful winglets. You can see the winglets removed in this 2004 photo by Derek Hellman. It was scrapped around 2005. November 282 US was retired at Blytheville. The aircraft finished with Sunworld in 2004 and was scrapped around 2015. November 283 US went on to fly for Air Ecuador as HC-BVU until a crash landing in 1997 at San Cristobal Airport in the Galapagos Islands. The aircraft somehow returned to Rantoul, Kansas and was parted out by Dodson Parts. The next registrations, November 284, 85, 86, 87, and 89, were all retired at Roswell. They all entered service around 1977 and were scrapped around 2004-2005. November 288 US was my first ride on a Northwest 727 back on May 22, 2002. This photo was taken shortly after deplaning Northwest Flight 434 in Orlando. I remember the seats were wide and comfy, the front cabin was quiet, and the cruise was really smooth. This aircraft was retired within that year and ended up at Maxton, North Carolina. The aircraft may have been completely scrapped by 2008. Here is an excellent photo of November 290 US operating under Northwest for the last time, arriving at Maxton, North Carolina. This aircraft was parted out. November 291 US was retired at Roswell and scrapped around 2007. This aircraft was delivered to Northwest in 1977. Here, we have November 292 US arriving at Maxton Airport in 2003 to be parted out. Also at Maxton, we see in this 1991 photo November 293 US when it was used by Sun Country for a short time before returning to Northwest and being retired as well. Moving over to Guayaquil in Ecuador, we see former 294 US as HCBVY. This aircraft finished service with Aerogal and was scrapped around 2003. November 295 US was retired at Roswell and scrapped around 2004. Returning to Roswell for the last time in this episode, November 296 US is seen sitting next to November 201 US while awaiting its fate. November 297 and 298 followed suit and also ended up in Roswell to be scrapped. They were all scrapped around 2004 to 2005. Before we get to the last Northwest 727-200, I would like to thank rzjets.net and planelogger.com, as well as all of the photographers who capture these tales by freezing those moments in time that help us visually document the legacy of each aircraft featured in this program. I also want to remind you that links to all items in this series are available in the video description. Finally, please be sure to like and subscribe so you do not miss any new episodes, and please be sure to also share this with any of your aviation friends who may find this interesting. Thank you for your support. Now, to our last Northwest 727-200. November 299 US operated the very last scheduled 727 flight on January 7, 2003. According to an article by bizjournals.com, this final flight was Northwest 560 and flew from Denver to Minneapolis. This aircraft was retired at Maxton, North Carolina, with many of the final service 727s in 2003. As we view the Google Earth globe, we can see every 727 that was featured in the 3 parts of this series. It is neat to see where all of our favorite Northwest 727s ended up. We thought of them as operating in the Americas while with NWA, but thanks to those who have a passion for tracking these tales, we get to see their final destinations no matter where they may be. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to touring with you in the next episode. Till next time, keep snapping those photos and logging those tales. Good day.